Hello and welcome back to Chickadee Pines Homestead. My name's Kevin. Today we're going to talk about safety and security on the homestead. Now, talking about safety, there's my Poppy Doodlebugs, and she's got her fluorescent vest on. We live in the woods, and if she gets out into the woods, it's just easier to spot her. And it's easy for other people out there on ATVs, snowmobiles, things like that to see her. She usually stays right with me, but there are times where she doesn't. So it's good for her to have that vest on. Now, I haven't been out here in a little while. Spring is in the air, because we're in mud season, kind of. And the ground is soft. There's a lot of mud. Isn't that right, Pops? But I think it's an important subject to be talked about because a lot of people don't take certain precautions. In this day and age, when people, are scared, hungry, and crime is rampant, and, it's, you've got to take certain precautions. You don't have to be paranoid, but you got to take certain precautions. Now, there are some, not all of it is about, Armageddon and being preppers and all this other stuff. A lot of it's just common sense. We have cameras. We have a wireless camera system around the homestead. And it's important to have for several reasons. If we have predators. Now, predators, usually what will happen is if we do have some sort of a predator out on the homestead somewhere, the dogs hear it, and dogs will go out and start barking. We have a doggy door, and they go out into the back, a fenced-in backyard. But they'll go out there and start barking, which in turn wakes us up, which in turn I grab my cell phone and I check all the cameras, make sure all the animals are okay. Now there is one instance, not just recently, that the cameras came in helpful because the dogs were out there barking, and we checked the camera and there was a fox. And here's a picture of the fox on the security camera. And so I monitored that for a little while and made sure that she or he went back into the woods and not towards the chicken coop. And which he did. So he went back in the woods and there was no emergency any longer. But if it had been an emergency where it went towards the chicken coop, I could get up and go intervene. Now, of course, we got our regular security out here in the front of the house. We have a camera right there. Now all these cameras, they're motion activated, and they'll snap a picture, they'll send a copy to me via email, and then it's uploaded to the cloud. So I don't need the camera or any SD cards or anything like that. Also, another reason, if you will, to have the cameras is that we get our grain delivered, and sometimes we may not be here. And so I will leave this door open for the delivery driver, and they'll stack everything on that pallet for me. Now, if you had someone that wasn't quite so honest as our delivery driver, it's okay, because it's all on camera. Now, the areas we want to keep an eye on, you know, if both my wife and I are out, I want to be able to get on my phone and check on the animals. Now, if they're outside, I've got cameras set up in the pastures, in which that little white ball on top of the post, that's a camera that's facing into the pasture, the goat pasture, or the primary goat pasture, I should say. But this is where the does hang out. And so I can check on them anytime throughout the day. Now, going into the barn, along with this one on the outside of the barn, facing the driveway. Top of that, we have cameras in the barn. Going into this stall right here. And we have a camera in this stall. This one I can actually move around and pan the camera around to view quite a bit, actually. Pretty much this whole stall I can view. And then we've got one down here in the doe stall, the senior does, right up there, which goes around the whole inside of that stall. So we can keep an eye on things in here. Now, we go into the garage from the barn. And we come back out here. We go out here into the chicken run. We have another camera right up there that covers this whole side of the chicken run. So I can keep an eye on the birds, make sure the predators aren't in here. And then if I have rats or something, if I can see if we have any rats that come out at night. And if I do, I take care of them. So we don't have any kind of a rat problem. I pretty much keep that in check all the time. Now, then I have another camera inside the run. right over there. And this is another pan and tilt camera that I can move around. So pretty much I can see everything that goes on inside this run. What are you guys doing? Oh, you're laying eggs. That's good. The girls are starting to lay more as we get more daylight. So, we have those cameras that keep us informed of what's going on out here with our animals. So, as we walk out back, walk out of the garage here, then we go out back towards the buck barn. We have cameras that cover the back area of the homestead. One of them being the picture of the fox. I'll show you what camera that came from and where that fox was. Now look, we don't mind sharing the homestead with wildlife as long as they behave. We gotta keep them in check. I would scare a fox off, but I would never shoot a fox. It's kidding season, so kitting season. So they are giving birth and they have babies to feed, in which it's probably why I don't have many rats around right now, because that's one of their main dishes, one of the main delicacies of foxes, rats, mice. So, coming back out here into the new garden area where all the beds are going to be set up. So this whole area here is where we're going to have garden beds just like these. I just have to finish building them. And so we want to be able to keep an eye on this area. We do have fencing up, and we are putting fencing up on the back wood line because we are going to keep the deer out of here. But if something does get through, we want to know about it. So if you look up on the buck barn, I have a camera on this corner right here, and this is the camera that recorded the fox. And it's solar powered because I don't have I have electricity that goes to this barn in the wintertime just for the bucket heaters, but not for things like this. Then I have another camera right there facing in towards the buck's pasture. So I can see everything that's going on inside that pasture. Now I have those Brahma hens in there also, and so, you know, it's tempting for predators to want to get in there. They're the boys, they're playing. Those are our two intact bucks, Katahdin and Kenio. They're good boys. Yep. So that camera right there is facing inside this pasture right here. So we can see everything that's going on in there. We have 8-foot fence around this whole pasture. Plus on the bottom, we have a smaller mesh welded wire fencing just for the chickens. In case we have chicks or small pullets or something, it'll prevent them from going through the fence. He's upset about something over there. The boys, they're good boys. Now, we have Myrtle and Katie giving birth next month. And the father of both of those sets of babies belongs to Kenio, which is the blonde-colored buck goat right there. They'll be his babies. Katahdin, we bred him, but he did not do the job. He was still a little bit young, so it's not a big deal. So instead of 4 goats that we have bred, we have 2. It's a nice day on the homestead today. It's in the upper 30s. So, now, going on with our cameras. This is all for the security of the homestead, whether it be the animals or our garden. Now, again, not to be paranoid, but one of the reasons we're moving the gardens back here into the back part of our homestead is because as we are approaching uncertain times, we want to secure our food. It has been a problem, not much, but sometimes people they'll steal from the garden or the farm stand, and so we want to kind of keep a check on that and not to go psycho prepper on you or anything, but if the baloney does hit the fan, we want to make sure that our food sources are secure, in which they are. Now, the only defense is me. Me and my 9mm. But we hope that it never comes to anything like that. So, going into the buck barn. Going into the buck barn. we have another camera right up there in the corner. That is solar powered. And that I can pretty much see everything that goes on inside this barn. Yes, Katahdin, you're a good boy. Kinio, you good boy? Yes, you are a good boy. And over into this stall. Isn't that right, Jasper? Yeah, the hens. They come in here during the day. This is where they lay their eggs. And I'm actually collecting their eggs right now because these, goodness, hello. Because the Brahmas, I want to hatch another dozen Brahma chickens, the white Brahmas, because they are fairly large birds. They lay large brown eggs. They're very hardy, and I want to keep that line in my flock. So these guys are starting to get a little old, so I want to make sure that I can replace them as they start dropping off. So back to the cameras, security. That about does it for cameras, and these cameras are all tied in to one system that uploads to the cloud, and notifications are sent to my phone, and I can go on anytime and check any camera and see what's going on. So cameras, very important. Okay, it's an important part of your homestead. You gotta protect your homestead. That's Maverick. He's the new Roo, doing a good job. He's the one that we got to breed the white Brahmas. He's a good boy. What are you doing, Mav? Hey, you got some breeding to do, buddy. Let's get on that, okay? Yeah, so now, along with the cameras, we have other things in place for security and for safety. We have a plethora, that word sounds like, we have a lot of solar powered lights all over the homestead, and they're all motion activated. So if a predator does come in line of one of these solar powered lights, the lights come on and it scares the predators off. Does an excellent job. And on the safety side of the house, if I have to come out to check on things out here at the buck barn or anywhere in the homestead, as I walk along, I have them set up so different lights will come on and I can see my way. Don't need a flashlight or anything. Now, what the lights look like, all solar powered, and I get a really good deal on these on Amazon. I get like 3 of these for like $60, I think. And they have lasted really well. This is one of the new batch I had gotten, but I have an older batch that I've had for like 3 or 4 years, and they're just as good today as they were when I first got them. They're very dependable. And so I have one back here in the garden area and by kind of near the buck barn, but I have one closer to the buck barn over here. And there's 3 different lights, and I have them going in 3 different directions. Now on the back of the buck barn, by where the cameras are, I have a solar powered light facing back into the garden area and over into the buck pasture. And it's funny, sometimes I'll get up at night and I will come out to get a drink of water or something, and I'll look out back and I'll see the light on, and I will see one of my barn cats walking down the trail. It's kind of funny. Drives the dogs nuts though. There are some nights, they will be out here barking quite a bit. That only happens every once in a while, but if there's any kind of commotion out here at all, the dogs will hear it and they come right out, start barking, which alerts us so we can check the cameras and see if everything is cool or not. Yeah, so we have those lights there. And then, as we walk down what we call Chickadee Pines Drive here. This is Chickadee Pines Drive right here. And as we walk down Chickadee Pines Drive, we have another solar light right on the corner of the inside chicken run. One light faces up towards the wood pile. One light faces out back here, and one faces over towards the backyard. Now when I walk out to go out to the buck barn, this will be the first light that comes on. That is the first light that will come on, and that sees me through the backyard. I'll come out the backyard here, walk across the backyard, up there by that roll of fencing, and then the other light right over there by the buck pasture, that one turns on, so I can see my way into the buck barn, and then I have a solar light inside the buck barn that stays on all night. So I can see my way around. Yep. So, continuing down Chickadee Pines Drive. Got a lot of cleanup to do this year, a lot of downed limbs and things like that to clean up, but this is all nice gravel road right here. And we come over here to the edge of the outdoor chicken run, and we got another light right there. We've got 2 of them. We've got the one that's facing out right there, and then on the back side of that post over there, there's another one. that faces in towards the run. And that's right, that's another camera. There's another camera that right there that shoots out into the outdoor chicken run in the pond. So you can see what's going on out there. And we have that other light that illuminates pretty much the whole chicken run on the back side of that post right there, you can see. And going down Chickadee Pines Drive. The other day, we had a couple days of real warm temperatures, and the top half of the pond thawed out, and the ducks were out here swimming, having a good old time in the pond. That was fun to see. Now, over here on the corner, I have another solar powered light, and that illuminates part of Chickadee Pines Drive on this side and going down that way through that gate. And we have a light shining in over the pond. Yeah, so we have our cameras, we have our lights, which are all very dependable, and I check them regularly. And all of the camera footage is uploaded to the cloud. Plus I have 24/7 access to every camera on the property on my smartphone. So I can check on the animals when I'm not here, and it will alert us while we are here of any predators, trespassers, and yeah. Oh, let's see. Goats are on their A-frame. They like that. They love their A-frame. They go up in there. There's a top level and the bottom level. They love their A-frame. They climb all over that. And I'm going to build another one of those for out back in the buck pasture. So all the bucks and the wethers, they can play on their own A-frame. So that's right. And in addition to the lights I've shown you, I have a few, usually over every gate, I have a solar powered motion activated light, LED light. Now what those do, they'll automatically come on at dusk, and they'll only get bright with motion. So they make an excellent deterrent against predators or trespassers. Yeah. Compost piles coming along. That's the newest one, and we've just started cleaning out the barn from winter. That pile will be probably 4 or 5 times that size when we're done. And that'll be year after next compost. That's next year's compost. And this is going to be this year's compost. Still got some breakdown to do, but as the temperatures warm up, it will get more broken down. But you scoop into that with the tractor and steam rolls right out of the middle. Now, compost piles have been known, you know, they can catch fire if you don't stir them up real good. A lot of heat generated from the bacteria. Wow. All right, now we're not done yet. So those are lights and cameras for security and safety. Now the next thing we're going to talk about is communication. Communication is very important, especially as we're getting older. A lot of times I work alone out back here, and if something was to go wrong, we have to have some way of notifying my wife in the house or on another part of the property that there's a problem. Now, we have what's called GMRS radios. Now, you got CBs, Citizens Band, which I spent my whole life trucking. And CBs, their range is not very good unless you're in a wide open area. So you could go a step up from that, which would be FRS radios, Family Radio Service, which you don't need a license, but they're not very powerful. Kind of on the same kind of range as a CB radio, Citizens Band radio. So without stepping up to the level of a ham radio, which is very high power, talk all over the world, and you have to take a test and know Morse code and all that stuff. That's a little bit overkill for communication. Excuse me. Wipe the drip off my nose. So, what we decided to go with were the GMRS radio. Now, these radios, I have some that are 5 watts, and these, I have a pair that are 5 watts that look just like this, and I have 2 that are like 3 watts. Now the 5 watt ones I have in the vehicles, and these we use around the homestead. And GMRS stands for General Mobile Radio Service. Now, these do link up with repeaters, and I can talk all over the state, right from here. Now, if you look at the top of the garage, right there, I have a base antenna, and I have a base in the house. That's 50 watts. And I can speak all over the state, all over New England with that. Well, okay, I appreciate the comeback there. I haven't turned the radio on in a while. I figured you might want to check it out and make sure she's working good. Thank you for the comeback.
No problem. Anytime. It's always good to make sure the radios are working, especially nowadays. But, alright, take care. This is WRTL 923. I will be on the side on a Spruce repeater.
And this is WSFY 326. We're going to be clear of the channel. Now, people say, oh, you just use your cell phone. Well, cell phones aren't always reliable. Cell phones you don't want to take out and drop in the mud and run over it with a tractor. And so, also, if the baloney does hit the fan, you want something you're not where you don't have to rely on cell towers and services and things like that. These are on all the time. They're battery operated. So they are a good choice to use. And the GMRS gives you a little bit more power. You do need a license, but there's no test involved. It's just a $35 fee, and you get a license and a call sign. And that there are rules you need to follow. And it covers you and your immediate family. So, let me give you an example. My wife, she went out to the buck shed, not the buck shed, excuse me. In the doe pasture, we have the shed for the does. In case inclement weather comes, they have that shed that they can go into. And she got herself locked in that shed. I didn't set the latches up to undo from the inside. And the wind blew the door shut, and she was stuck in there. She freaked out. And I came outside to see what she was doing, and I look over, and she's hung halfway out the window. And she had broken out the polycarbonate panel and was trying to crawl out. Wasn't having much luck. And she was pretty upset about it, actually. So if she had had her radio, then she could have just said, "Hey, I'm stuck in the goat shed. Can you come get me out?" See, simple as that. And it wouldn't have been such a big deal. So, just to kind of show you how it works, because I'm out back by the garden area and by the buck pasture, buck barn, and my wife is inside doing some housework, I guess. And if I was going along here, and let's say, I was going along and I was like, oh, I twisted my ankle. Oh man, I can't walk. Oh man. Oh, I'm falling, and I can't get up. So, I'm going to get on the horn here. Hey, Jill, do you have a copy? Hey, I tripped out here and hurt my ankle. Can you come out and give me a hand?
Yes, I'll be right there.
Thank you, sweetie. See? Just like that. Now, I don't know if I can get up now. So I'm going to turn the camera off because it might be kind of embarrassing seeing me flop around like a rhinoceros on the ground over here. I'll be right back with you. Hey, I'm back with you. So she's not using the base. She's using a mobile just like this. She clips it on her pants and she's going about her business in there. But I know that she's there if I need her. So it's nice to have these radios. And I just clip it right onto my body. Carry it around with me. Or I'll put it in the cup holder of the tractor or something. And I've got it. So, communication. Very important. You know, it could be another emergency on the property. And I can call in and say, hey, call the fire department. I see a brush fire starting up out back here or something. Something like that. But communication is really important. Not only if the baloney hits the fan, but everyday activities. Especially we're outside. In the spring and summer, we're outside all the time. So we want to always make sure we have communication with each other. She may be out front doing something. I may be way out back doing something. But we can talk to each other. Sometimes it may just be, hey, honey, can you bring me a nice cold lemonade? And she's such a sweetheart, she'll do it. So, yeah, communication, very important. So, safety and security. There are other things, safety-wise, that you'll always want to think about. As far as the animals go, you want to make sure that on their implements, like their A-frame, we have some wire spools out there for them to climb on. You want to make sure that there's no protruding nails or bolts or anything like that. You want to make sure there's no screws that are poking through somewhere that they can get caught on. You want to make sure that the animal's tetanus is all up to date. Yeah, a lot to think about. So, lights, camera, and communication, all very important, along with good hygiene. There are things that we do, like we don't allow many people into the barn or chicken runs because they can bring in disease. I shouldn't say never. There are certain times we did, but we don't bring strange birds into the flock because they without quarantining them and making sure that they're healthy, because they can bring a disease in and wipe your whole flock out. Same thing with the goats. You want to make sure that no diseases or anything like that are brought in to the herd. So we're very picky about bringing people in to pet the goats and things like that. And if they do, they use hand sanitizer. And like the grandkids and things like that. We certainly want to share the experience, but we don't want to take unnecessary risks when it comes to the animal's health. So, this video is going to be a little shorter than normal, but it's not any less important than anything else on the homestead. Safety and security. Communication, very important. I hope that this was something that you have started thinking about for your own homestead. And you don't have to start off with 10 cameras and 50 different lights and all of it at once, little at a time. Things on the homestead are always done in order of priority. So I think when we started out, we wanted to make sure that we had cameras in the birthing stall so we could keep an eye on one of our does that was in labor. So we knew when it was time, we would go out and tend to her. And that's how we started it out. And then we just added cameras and as we could afford it. And biggest thing I think is you don't want to have the cameras to where you're storing the data on an SD card inside the camera. Because if someone was to come along and then come on the homestead without being invited, you don't want to have the data all tied up on the SD card. They could take it with them and you wouldn't have any record of it. So everything is uploaded to the cloud, and us, or the authorities, have access to that without it being tampered with in any way. Hi, darling. Hi, my love bug. You good girl. Huh? You my good girl. Can I sit here with you? Could I sit here with you? Okay. I'm just going to sit here with you. So, just to wrap things up, safety and security, important part of the homestead. I hope this was helpful. Hey, as always, thank you for watching our videos, and please consider subscribing to the channel. Please like and share the videos, as this helps our channel, and someday it'll help with our expenses around the homestead, hopefully. So, with all that, thank you, and God bless you. And this is WSFY 326. We're going to be clear of the channel.